Kettlebells versus dumbbells. Which one builds more muscle? Coach Brady, what do you think?
I think the dumbbell is easier to track, easier to progress. To me, the kettlebell has always been something that's super technical. And for the beginner lifter, teaching them, most people have like dealt with a dumbbell before, right? They've seen the little, I don't know, whatever, like the little pink neon ones. They see them at the gym, they just mess around with them. So I think the dumbbell for the beginner lifter is probably easier, but I think the kettlebell, you could probably, it's more versatile. Like I only need maybe one or two different weights versus a dumbbell you need, like you see in your gym. Like you have probably 5 kettlebells and 100 different dumbbells, and there's a reason for that. So yeah, I mean, in terms of just building muscle, if we're just talking about hypertrophy, I do think dumbbells are better because they're a lot more scalable. You can go up in weight. There's the intervals between weights are a lot easier, so it's easier to progressively overload. Right. Yeah.
But like you said, kettlebells, I mean, they can overall just develop your fitness in so many different dimensions as well. I mean, you could do ballistic exercises to work on explosiveness. You can do a little bit of explosive stuff with dumbbells, but obviously kettlebells are just much better. But if we're just talking about building muscle, even though you can pretty much do any exercise that you can do with a dumbbell with a kettlebell or with a pair of kettlebells, I would say probably dumbbells are better for building muscle. That's not to say you can't build muscle with kettlebells, but you can do so many other things with kettlebells that, in my opinion, overall, kettlebells just have a lot more value.
Yeah.
But just in terms of hypertrophy, I would go with dumbbells as well.
Yeah, and I think the kettlebell can be used, like you were kind of alluding to, can be used for a lot of like mobility type stuff too. It can kind of bring out some of those, maybe not injuries, but like some of your lacks. Like if you got a little shoulder instability, you might not notice it with a shoulder press with a dumbbell, but if I have you bottoms up press a kettlebell, we're gonna figure it out real quickly that you have some shoulder instabilities and some weaknesses that you can deal with. You can progress there. So I think that's another thing that kettlebell kind of gets maybe slept on a little bit, of people just doing a normal exercise like a shoulder press, for example, that you might normally see with a dumbbell, but using a kettlebell instead to challenge stability or to bring out some weaknesses that you might have. So I think that's a tool that, a way that you can use a kettlebell that's not just a swing or a snatch or a thrust or whatever.
Yeah.
We're talking about like bottoms up pressing is just going to, so the big difference in the dumbbell and the kettlebell is that the dumbbell's balanced, right? The bells are on each side versus the kettlebell, all the weight's on one side, right? So in order to press it, you have to be stable or else it's going to fall one way or the other way, right? It really challenges some of those deep rotator cuff muscles as you're pressing, or that's just one example. But yeah, so a good way to like I said, challenge stability, almost like maybe tricking you into doing like some therapy kind of stuff that you should be doing anyways, but you still think you're getting strong while you're doing it, instead of, because it's hard, at least for me with clients, to like, okay, we're gonna slow down, we're gonna take these, like, we're gonna do this band stuff and build stability. They're like, I just wanna, if we're only there for an hour, I just wanna build muscle, I just wanna whatever get bigger. But this is a way to kind of combine the two.
Yeah, also in terms of kettlebells and dumbbells, you know, there's really 2 types of exercises, at least in the kettlebell world. There's 2 labels. There's the ballistic and there's the grinds. You can think of the grinds as any regular exercise, right? Bench press, shoulder press, exercise where you control both the eccentric and the concentric, and it's just a nice stable movement. And then you got the ballistics, like a kettlebell swing, you know, snatch, the more explosive stuff. In terms of a kettlebell, I can't really think of an exercise that you can do with dumbbells that you can't do with kettlebells.
Yeah.
I'm actually trying to think right now, and I can't think, there's nothing coming to my mind that only you can do with a dumbbell. With a kettlebell, there's exercises that you simply can't do with a dumbbell. Now, I've seen at certain boot camps, I've heard stories of them making their students do kettlebell swings with a dumbbell, but it's just not the same.
Yeah.
It's not meant for that, and so I would say that, like we already talked about, kettlebells are just a much more well-rounded piece of equipment. You don't need as many, right? You probably only need 3 or 4 of different weights and you're good. With dumbbells, you need a whole stack. But just specifically for building muscle in the conventional way, hypertrophy dumbbells would be better, but even better than dumbbells. And if you just want to talk about building muscle, I mean, I guess machines and cables would be even better than that, because they just take away all the stability, all the functional things, and you're just putting on muscle. But dumbbells are great too. Like, I love dumbbells. You can do, you can do some snatches with dumbbells. You can do some explosive stuff as well. I think we're just comparing apples to oranges, right? They're different tools for different reasons.
Yeah.
And have different purposes. But just for specifically hypertrophy, dumbbells probably edge out kettlebells just a little bit, in my opinion.
I agree. Dumbbells win.
Well, there you have it, folks. When it comes to muscle building, we got to give the edge just slightly to dumbbells over kettlebells, just when it comes to muscle building.
Yeah, and if you're looking for a program, we have an awesome program we filmed before. You can link it below in the comments. It's called Dumbbell Domination, A to Z, a full program you can do just with dumbbells, probably from your home. Get after it, guys. Good luck.
Don't be dumb, get a dumbbell.
Yeah.